guys, good morning again. Good morning. Good Sunday morning. God bless you. We are going to just get into a few verses here, but as I was discussing earlier, I had some technical issues before, but I just wanted to come on here and remind you that, we all may be going through some difficulties in life, some trauma. This year of 2020, I actually call it the year to get clear. It's the year to we need to be getting clear on where we stand, who we are as an individual, as a people, as a world, as a country, as a nation. But we all need to really um, make each day count. Today is just a do over from yesterday. It's a chance. It's another chance to get some things right in your life. So the so I want to dive right in with because if you're going to watch this later, I want to dive right in with. Uh, let's see here. Where did it go? Oh, here we are. I want you to go to Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 17. Now, the backstory of Habakkuk is he was a prophet. They call him a minor prophet. I believe he was major for what he says here. But no matter what your faith is, this guy had faith. This guy had faith. He It says in the book of Habakkuk, even though the fig tree has no blossoms and there's no grapes on the vine, and even though the olive crop fails and the fields lie empty and barren. I don't know about you, but that describes a man of incredible faith to me. Now, whatever your faith is, and the whatever your situation is, that this year has been a chaotic year. Whether you be Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, American, or otherwise, whatever your creed, color, religion, sex, gender, doesn't matter. Everyone across the world has been affected by the one thing. So we do have one thing in common. We've all been set back or set up, or we've all experienced obstacles and how to turn those obstacles into opportunities and the stumbling blocks into stepping stones and what faith really is about. I mean, yet I will rejoice. That's what Habakkuk says towards the end of this here. He says, even though the flocks die in the fields and the cattle barns are empty. What does this mean? Even though I'm not getting clients, even though, I mean, when you can get to this point, even though I'm making no sales this week, John, even though I'm in a slump, even though it looks like Mercy Me, he sings a song called Even If. Even if. In fact, it's on YouTube, so you could find it on YouTube. But right now, I'm just gonna have us go, and we're gonna check out Mercy Me, Even If. is you can do it on your own. So this is not infringing on anything because I'm not selling you anything. It's already on. But I want you to listen to the words of this song. Maybe you haven't heard it before, but I believe it's the most powerful song. So we're gonna just take a listen to it, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna get into this a little bit more. So here we are, and we're just gonna do a share, and here we go, and then we're gonna just take a listen to this one. And there might be an ad. We'll skip over it. But Mercy Me is it's an incredible song.
Aflac program.
Yeah.
Now tell
a video
me,
will
what
play
does
after
Aflac
the.
do?
Aflac pays you money directly to help with unexpected medical bills.
That's right. Yeah.
At least
Can I get one
we're
of those cool blue blazers?
we're gonna
No,
get
I can't play favorites.
we're
Get
gonna
to
play
know
Mercy Me even if
Aflac.com.
after the ad here. So I want you to just listen to the words of this song.
They say sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. And right now I'm losing that. Stood on this stage night after night, reminding the broken it'll be alright. But right now, I just can't. It's easy to say when there's nothing to bring me down. But what will I say when I'm held to the flame like I am right now? I know you're able and I know you can see through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. They say it only takes a little faith to move a mountain. Well, good thing, a little faith is all I have right now. God, when you choose to leave mountains unmovable, oh, give me the strength to be able to sing. It is well with my soul. I know you're able and I know you can save through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is you alone. I know the sorrow and I know the hurt would all go away if you just you've been faithful, you've been good all of my days. Jesus, I will cling to you, come what may, 'cause I know you're able, I know you can. I know you're able, and I know you can see through the fire with your mighty hand. But even if you don't, my hope is in you alone. I know the sorrow, I know the hurt would all go away if you just say the word. But even if you don't, my hope is in you alone. I hope is in you alone. soul. It is well with my soul.
Wow. Incredible, guys, huh? Yeah, that song is I hope you guys watch this video again. I think that you're going to find that we've got to get to this point where nothing moves us. The Apostle Paul, he wrote the Bible. He wrote 2/3 of the New Testament, and 2/3 of the New Testament he wrote from a prison cell. And I think we've got to get to the point where he got to the point where he said, "Nothing moves me." You know, I think that's real faith. And Paul, the apostle, if there was anybody that was close to perfect on this earth, I would have had to consider Paul being close to perfect. But yet he said, Christ came to come to save sinners, of whom I am chief. In other words, he recognized his weaknesses in his life, but he also said, I will glory in my weaknesses. You know, we have to understand that so the infinite intelligence, he said, would become perfect in me, so that when my strength is gone, God's infinite intelligence becomes perfect within me, begins to work out his perfect work within my life. And so that's what we need to focus on more than anything, guys, is this even though kind of faith. Even if you don't, I know you're able, I know things will work out, but even if they don't. See, I have changed my philosophy about my life. I am no longer a failure. I am a success. I will be a success because I start from a success. Everything I touch will turn to gold. Everything my hand touches will prosper because God tells me it will. And he is in my life. And even though he's proving me and he's processing me, and even though things may not always appear to be going in the direction that I want to go in. One of my favorite guys is Brian Tracy, and he said this. He said, nothing works the first time, or the second, or the third. Thomas Edison, he created the filament for the incandescent light bulb, and he was asked, how does it feel to have failed that many times? And he simply replied, I did not fail that many times. You missed it. I successfully figured out how it wouldn't work. See, Thomas Edison knew who he was in the beginning. He knew who he was. He didn't have to, even if he spent the remainder of his life to get something, he knew that he would acquire it. See, if he would have spent if it took the remainder of Thomas Edison's life to create the filament for the incandescent light bulb, Thomas Edison knew that even if I don't do it, So, for instance, when you look at this verse here, even though there's no figs on the fig tree doesn't blossom, even though there's no fruit on the vine, even though the olive crop fails, even though the barns are empty, even though everything looks like hell and back, I will yet rejoice in God. I will yet rejoice in my purpose. I will rejoice in what God has put me here for. I will not give up. I will not back down. I will commit to what God has called me to do. Even though I will push through. I'm reminded of a story of a man that was hired to push against a rock. That's what his job was, to push against the rock. And life can feel like that, can it? We're just pushing against a rock and it's not moving. Well, the man got frustrated and he got frustrated and he got frustrated over and over and over again. He came out every day and he pushed against this rock, and he was being paid to do it. And he pushed against the rock and he pushed against the rock and he pushed against the rock. And 30 days into it, he comes back to his boss and he says, I'm so frustrated, I'm so insecure, and I'm neurotic and emotionally unstable over this job you gave me. In other words, he was fine about it. But he said, I'm pushing against this rock, but it's not moving. And the boss said, who said anything about moving it? I wanted you to push against it. And life may be pushing against you so that you can push back against it. And when you get to the point in your life that says, even though things aren't going my way, even though it appears that life is against me, that everything is hitting me with everything. I'm reminded of what Rocky Balboa said to his son. It's a great quote. He said, it's not how hard you can get hit, how hard you can hit, but how hard you can keep getting hit and keep getting back up. Because life is not fair. It's mean and it's nasty, and it can have you. I'm reminded of the Count of Monte Cristo, what he said to great Albert, the young Albert, for his birthday toast. He said, life is a storm, my friend. It can have you basking in the sun one day and crashed against the side of the rocks the next. But it's how you respond to the storms of your life when you get up onto the bow of your ship and you stare into the storm and you scream out, do your worst, for I shall yet do mine. That's when we know our life has changed. That's when we know we've made the turn. Now, it doesn't mean everything is going to be hunky-dory, because we've made a lot of wrong decisions up to this point. And the Bible is very clear. What a person sows, they also shall reap. Now, it's not who you are, it's where you were. And we made choices yesterday that are going to affect us today. And we made choices the day before that are going to affect us today. But if you keep pushing, if you keep moving forward, if you keep doing the things that God has called you to do, and you keep focused on the aim. See, Peter was asked to get out of the boat. But Peter, first of all, said, God, if you want me to exercise my faith, he didn't say, that's what he was really saying. God, if you want me to exercise my faith, tell me to step out. And Jesus said, step out of the boat. And he was fine when his eyes were on the prize. But when he took his eyes off and put them on the circumstances, George Bernard Shaw said, I don't believe in circumstances. The person who gets on in this world is the person who finds the circumstance that he wants. And if he cannot find it, he creates it. So I want to remind us all that even though the flocks die in the fields and the cattle barns are empty, yet I will rejoice in the Lord, and I will be joyful in God my Savior. Wow, what a powerful 2 verses in the Bible, and they get overlooked a lot. They get overlooked a lot. A lot of our preachers today in the church world would just say, think it away. And I'm a big believer in positive thinking. But what they don't realize is that we thought about things yesterday, and therefore we're getting them today. We made decisions yesterday, and therefore we're getting them today. So you need to remember, even though the fig trees have no blossoms, and there's no grapes on the vines, even though the olive crop fails, and the fields lie empty and barren, even though the flocks die in the fields and the cattle barns are empty. Yet, even if you don't, Lord, even if you don't, my hope is in you. All right. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. May he lift up his countenance on you and give you peace until that day when you stand before him, when there is no sunset and no dawning. But again, until then, how about we stay alive all our life? God bless.